Hello, welcome. Today I want to talk about my favorite topic, meditation, because it's so important. But I can't emphasize enough. First of all, I can't emphasize enough how important it is. And secondly, I can't say it enough that there are probably thousands of different meditations in the world and contemplations and prayers and everything. But there's basically only one that is the right one. Now I know that's kind of a bold statement, but it's true. The right one reconnects you to your inner ground. It reconnects you to the inner light from God. And what do the other ones do? Well, first of all, perhaps imagination, visualization. That's what you need to be saved from. That's what you need to learn to be rescued from. That's what you need to find out how to get out of. Most people's problem is they're lost between their two ears. They spend, a famous hypnotist, very well known, he's on YouTube a lot, and he's very good. He said that people walk around in a mild state of trance, lost in their thoughts, about 85% of the time. So just look at yourself. You're always worrying, fearing, doubting, planning, scheming, thinking about the past, reliving the past, trying to change the past. See, worrying. What is that? That's imagination. So if someone says, well, visualize this, or visualize this nice lake, or this beautiful forest, or, see, what is it? It's just more imagination. It's a no man's land. You enter that no man's land unprotected and get lost in that no man's land. It doesn't matter whether you're lost in an image of a waterfall or a lake, or whether you're lost in some scary thing or worry. It's just the same thing. So that's one thing. Then the other thing is like positive, words and thinking and so on. But words don't have any power in them. Words are just words, and if they're not true, they're a lie. And even if they are true, it doesn't mean that you're reconnected with your inner ground. Then how about things like chanting and drum beats and mantras and all that stuff? What is it? It's repetition. It's hypnotic. So hypnosis is the other thing that you need to be rescued from. See, a lot of kids say, my dad wasn't there for me. How many kids say that? A lot. What does that mean? Well, we all know what that means when someone says, my dad wasn't there for me. But he may have been there physically. He was sitting in the living room watching television. He was working in the garage. He was going to work. He sat at the dinner table. He took you to ball games. Where was he? Well, he wasn't connected to that would make him there for you. So if he wasn't in that kind of a state, see, Christ spoke of a heavenly state, or a heavenly estate, he called it. A heavenly estate is when you're close to God, close to reality, close to the inner light. And from there you get understanding. And you're there. And your roots run deep and you're solid. But when you're not connected to that, then you got to be lost in some kind of hypnotic state where other things have an effect on you, where everything else has more effect than your intuition, than the inner light and conscience. Are you with me? So this dad who's not there for his kids, he can do all the mantras and chanting, and he can do all the visualizations and positive talk, and he can do all that he wants. It won't do him any good. In fact, it's harmful because it's the wrong thing. See, it's another wrong thing. It's the wrong place to be looking. You've heard the expression, looking for love in all the wrong places. If you're looking in the wrong places, you got to find the right place. And the right place is the heavenly estate. And where do you find it? It's within. So you have to get back in touch with it and then flow from it, live from it. See, so that it gets into you. See, now everything else gets into you. What people say, the look on their face, problems, worries, everything else gets into you, suggestions. Everything gets into you. Everything about what should get into you, which is from your Creator within. So when you're close to God, then you also have a protection, see, and you have objectivity. So I'm going to give this little example again. Used it so many times over the years, over 30 years now. But it's a good one because people can understand it. There's two ways of watching television. One way, the correct way, is television's across the room. There it is, blaring away. And you sort of notice it. Maybe something is said that you hear or understand, or you watch a little bit of it lightly. It's like scanning a book. See? You're just lightly listening, and if there's something of value, you'll catch it. If not, it just goes in one ear and out the other. So that's one way of watching television. That's the right way. The wrong way is to be lost in the television. Watch people when they're watching television. They're lost in it. They become the television. They become the scene. They become the actor. They lose themselves. They lose themselves. And if their child enters the room, they're not there. They're still in the chair. And the child says, "Daddy, yeah, okay, sure, okay, yeah." Not there for them. Do you understand? So that analogy fits very well for imagination. Your imagination is a no man's land that's manipulated by outside forces. Doesn't matter whether they create whether whatever it is creates a rosy scene or a scary scene. Whether it caters to your ego and tells you how great you are and how powerful you could be with fantasies of romance or revenge. Whether it does that or whether it tells you you're no good and you're useless and the world would be better off. It doesn't matter which tells you. Both are lies. Both want to get you involved with them. Do you understand that? They're tempting you to get involved with it, to give yourself over to it, to lose yourself in it, or to struggle with it. See? So the right way is to learn how to observe imagination without being lost in it. Then you have objectivity. See? So you can observe thought instead of being the thought. See? You're not the thought. You're the observer of thought. So once again, obviously that meditation has to be very simple. It has to very simply restore you back to your... But when I say restore, it can restore you to that place in a second. In a second. Have you ever had a wake-up call? You know, where one minute you're lost in all your worries and doubts and what am I going to do and your video games and what am I going to eat and why did she say that to me and I'll prove this and blah, blah, blah. You're lost in all that stuff. Then all of a sudden something happens. Maybe you have a close call or you're worried about someone in your family or something and now all of a sudden you snap out of it. You snap out of it. How about the morning after the night before? Last night you went out, you wake up in the morning, oh my God, what am I doing here? See, it's a wake-up call. Well, there you are. You know, it's like a bucket of like they throw a bucket of ice water on the coach after he wins or something. That wakes you up. But the meditation will wake you up in a very gentle way because it's connected to God, who is very gentle and very kind. And He knows what you need. What you need is to reconnect with Him, and then ever so gently and ever so slowly come back to full reality. But, like I said, in an instant, you can be reconnected with your inner ground of good. That's what you need, something simple. Because once you're reconnected with it, and then hang on to that, then you have that, and your whole life changes for the better. Because now, what does it say in the Bible? If God be for us, who can be against us? See? If you refine that inner connection, that's all you need. God will do the rest of it. He takes care of it. Just have to refine Him. And you won't even know that it's Him at first. Paul said, first we see in a glass darkly, and then face to face. So, yeah, at first, you just sense that the way you sense that the way you're going is not right. There's something wrong with the way you're living. You're not really living your own life. You sense that you need something else. And you sense and you admit to yourself that you don't really have love for others. You hate them. You judge them. You're angry with them. When they want something from you, you resent them. See, your kids, you're impatient with them. Your husband irritates you. You hate him. You hate men. See, you hate women. You're confused. You sense all of that. You know that's not right. But what are you going to do? Well, yearn for what is right. Yearn what is, instead of trying to be the good yourself. Yearn for what's good instead of trying to be the good. See? Don't try to always fill that emptiness with something. You always try to fill it with food or drugs or marijuana or alcohol or entertainment or partying or something. You're always trying to fill it with something. And when you do, afterwards you just feel even more empty. Why? Because you just add another guilt to guilt. See? Instead, sit quietly, get the meditation, and practice it. And refine your inner ground from God. It's the inner light from God. You need to find God's light. When you do that, and you love that light, and you walk in that light, then He takes care of the rest of it.